It's been a big week for AI doomsayers. So is the technology just moving faster than we can keep up? We've seen top researchers from OpenAI, Anthropic, and other companies really kind of sounding the alarm this week on the rising dangers, some of them even quitting to make a larger point. So Doug Flynn is here from Flynn Capital Management. He has not left that post to become a matchmaker yet, but that does not mean he won't in the future, right?
You never know, Connell.
You never know. This, I was actually reading another one this morning, this long thing on social media about this, but the Anthropic staffer who resigned, to put that up, the world is in peril. The world is in peril, and not just from AI or bioweapons, but from a whole series of interconnected crises unfolding in this very moment. So, other than that, everything is great. So, like, what would you say about these kind of alarms being sounded and how alarmed you are?
Well, it's definitely affecting the market a little bit as people sort of take this in, but I think they have some points here we do need to consider. Some of the things they raised were that the capabilities of AI are continuously accelerating, so that's a concern because we can't really stay ahead of it. And what you're seeing is some of the self-improvement mechanisms that AI has have been happening faster than humans can keep up. And then, of course, you lay that in that like the sort of the policies and the government is slow to move, so those things are behind the eight ball. And then you've got issues where you could have sort of crimes and other situations like that. Misuse can happen, even if the probability is low. It's out there that it can happen. So there's economic disruption happening or coming even at a greater pace, and we just don't know exactly how it's going to play out. I think that's where the fears are coming.
Well, like I said, I was reading one this morning, you know, it's, this is trouble, and as someone who works in the industry and this long kind of manifesto of sorts of saying, oh, this is what's coming. It's coming for everybody's job and everybody's job. And then I was reading another one that was kind of a counterpoint, and I guess the basic counterpoint was, yes, but they're not talking about the new jobs that'll be created. And that's the big question, is this transition period, right? And how we handle it. At least it is to me.
Yeah, I always think about everything that moves on to something else. You know, I always talk about how, like, the people that used to make bicycles back in the day when the automobile came out, yeah, all those people were put out of business. But guess what? They moved into something else. So there's that. But take my industry, and my industry is just one of many. Financial services, you see real estate stocks getting hit today because the fear's there. But financial services this past week, there's 320,000 financial advisors in the United States. I have no doubt that the bottom 10% are bringing relatively little to no value and probably could be eliminated.
You go to ChatGPT or somewhere and they would give you just as good of advice. Right.
You have to keep your game up. You have to stay on top of this. You have to use the tools. But if you're going to just sit there and wait for it to come for you, it's coming for you.
Hey, that's a really good point. You got to use the tools. Do you use AI a lot in your job? And if so, how?
We do.
Like, how do you use it?
So just to quicken the research, but you'll notice, like, on certain levels, there's like the free version. And the free version, I found multiple errors. So it's a tool like anything else, but you have to fact check the tool. And even the ones that are more advanced that you pay for, they're better. But nothing's foolproof. It's not a full and total replacement. It's something, and we've even had clients cut AI chat stuff to us, and I'm like, hey, quit the chat because here's where the errors are, and they're like, all right. So we still have some value. There's some value there.
There's the errors have gone down like exponentially. At least I think they have in the last few months even. If you're willing to pay for the higher version, there were far more, like they call them hallucinations, like just 3 months ago, 6 months ago. It happened all the time. It does not happen as much. So this story is really changing really fast.
Better.
I think it's a
There's
big
no
part
question
of it.
about it.
Quick word on tariffs before we go. And the reason I want to bring that up is, of course, we're waiting for the Supreme Court decision. But these new numbers about tariff revenue being up under Trump by more than 300%. So what would you say about that? Like, what's the context of this? Tariff collections are up, right? Because we have more tariffs. Net, is it a good thing? And, because the Supreme Court could change a lot of this.
You know, that 300% up is probably the only thing growing faster than AI, actually, with those kind of percentages. But I would say this. I think the federal revenue is clearly up. It doesn't solve the deficit, but there was a big drop in the deficit from this. And so the issue is, the government might be getting into the refund business if this gets overturned, and that's going to have different impact. But everything has a trade-off. Right now, it seems that a lot of the tariffs that have come through have been taken care of by the companies and not 100% passed down or even a majority passed down. So they've taken a lot. And so their earnings have still been good, but maybe they've shrunk a little bit from from that extra tariff, but it hasn't translated into purely passing it all down. So you know, look, the revenue has been raised. That's helping the federal government. I don't know how this all unravels if they turn it over, but there are some benefits to that. And I think as a consumer, you're always looking at like the prices and the product comparisons. But as an investor, you're looking at which sectors are going to win versus others, and just the policy fluctuations and overall inflation is how you
Thank you,
look at it.
Doug, as always. It's actually Doug Flynn there, closing bell.